Welcome everybody to another episode of the Rivals Rundown.
Yep.
This time we're going to be tackling the week one, post week one rankings. Um, I am your host,
Quarterfinals, yeah.
or
You're the
yeah,
host.
post
You're
quarterfinals.
the host.
Righteous. I
I'm
was gonna
hanging out.
say, and my co-host, TB the Barbarian,
Okay. Sorry. Jumped the
joining
gun.
with me. Yeah, you did. It's okay. It's been a long season, and by our calculations, this is our second to last stream, probably.
I think
Um,
so. I don't think we'll do one after the finals match, just because.
because that'll be it. That'll be done.
Yeah.
We'll have the champ, whoever it may be. So we're winding on down, but there is a lot to cover after the quarterfinal rankings. Uh, so let's get into it.
Yeah.
Let's just jump into the playoff bracket so far. So the play-ins and quarterfinals, semifinals up there as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I wanted to snip it so everybody can get the full picture.
Yep,
Maybe have to squint your eyes a little bit, but that's okay.
looks fine to me. So we talked about play-ins last week. It's gonna be quarterfinals this week, and quite a few
No. Yeah.
surprises.
For talking about.
Yeah, for talking about. Quite a few surprises for quarterfinals. Some series that I thought would be close that ended up not being. In fact, most of the series were pretty one-sided, which was interesting to see. Last time we went bottom up. You want to go top down this time around?
Yeah. However you want to do it, we can jump around. You don't get crazy.
We'll jump around. I mean, let's. There's two big upsets that I guess we could leave to the end. Let's leave those to the end. Let's talk about Plasma Wolves and Bunny Brawler Paws first. That is definitely not the top. It is the bottom once again. But this was a series, a matchup that we didn't really know what to expect from either of these teams going into it. I thought it was going to be a lot closer. I don't remember what we ended up predicting, but I think we both thought Bunny Brawler Paws would take it.
I think so.
Um, Looking at the how the series went, though, were you surprised by the outcome? Were you surprised by the series itself? I mean, was there anything that's standing out to you here, CB?
Uh, I mean, something to note is that Bunny Brawlers did use an E-sub for 3 games in jungle.
So, was it an E sub? Because they didn't lose
I don't know if it was
bans.
a sub or E-sub, I guess.
They did lose bans. They lost their second phase bans.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, E-sub, yeah. So they played 3 games,
Mm-hmm.
which is something to note.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't. I think we both had BBP winning. We might have maybe disagreed on what the actual outcome was going to be, number-wise. We, of course, didn't have a lot of info on either team, just a few players here and there. But BBP predicted to be the better team, and it looks like they pulled it out with a 3-1.
Yeah, it's interesting. The one win the Plasma Wolves did get was that game two, 29.5 minute win. It looks to me like they said, all right, game one didn't go our way. Let's just, pick hard scaling. So they have a Aurelion Soul Jinx comp. And unless you close out the game rather quick against those kinds of comps or play a really clean early game, it's gonna be hard to win. And so they did pick up that victory. Looked like the scaling was good enough for them. And then every game after that, the Aurelion Soul was either picked away or banned. Um, so it was some nice adaptation from BBP. After losing a game, you always want to see it how a team adjusts, and it looks like they had some strategies in place or some things they had talked about. Can you pick this away? Do we have to ban it on a certain side, et cetera, et cetera, which is good for a playoff team, especially one that didn't have a lot of games together heading into this thing. And then, I mean, outside of that, when Pila Alice gets going, it just seems like this team is going to be really tough to beat, regardless of who they're facing.
Yeah, I mean, looked good early in the season. I mean, even off roll looked good, so
Hmm.
kind of expected. The 3 players on BBP that we've seen play looked good. They only got the one game as a full roster. They are supposed to use that roster that they used game 4 in tonight's game. So hopefully, maybe they've gotten actually some team practice other than that game 4 against PW.
Hmm.
But I mean, Plasma Wolves wasn't just like a free win. So Bunny Brawlers, I think, is a solid team, and we can talk about predictions once we get to the semifinals. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean
quick little 3-1.
last thing I'll say, on the side of Plasma was Tortuga had himself a pretty nice series, even in the losses. I mean, he went 13-5 in one of the games they ended up losing. Tortuga was looking really nice. It's always tough to play ADC and support, especially kind of. I say on the fly just because we didn't see them play together very often. I'm assuming they were getting work done, behind the scenes, but uh, to have him have a good series was, really good. And then, yeah, like the theme was the one game BBP ended up losing, Muriel went 596, right? Like, so it seems like if you could shut him down or at least slow him down, that might be a key to success, especially coming up in the series. But outside of that, it seems pretty hard to do so. That's probably his only like bad game we've seen in the LXC so far. So yeah, it was just kind of an interesting series. Didn't know a lot going in. We don't have a ton of info on the starting five, like you said, because of that ESUB. We only got to see the main roster in that last game, but I think moving forward, we have probably a better idea of Bunny Brawler Paws, probably, maybe, hopefully.
A little bit.
So we'll have to see. Um, I guess we could talk about the Rivals OSG game if we want to leave the two spicy ones to the end.
Yeah. I mean, we of course didn't give an official prediction. Obviously, every team's going for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we felt confident going in. We had scrimmed Sub Zero before, but kind of with a
A
different
couple
roster
weeks
because it
ago,
did
yeah.
have they had a top lane sub. That's unfortunate that you ever have to sub in playoffs. I mean, with somebody on your roster, it's maybe okay, but ideally you have your starters there. So unfortunate there. But I don't know. I felt like we played really well in that series. At least I'll speak for myself. Game 2, early game's a little rough. So game 2 is a little bit kind of close there for a bit. But no, I felt pretty good about our showing. And they of course had some good spurts. They had some the spicy Kled pick. We thought it might come out.
Mm.
The Gwen, which is super strong for another day, came out game 3. So they had some good flashings from their players. But I think we played a really good series.
Yeah, I mean the game one, I casted the game. Game one over in under 23 and a half minutes was definitely something to watch. Uh, Game two played probably a little bit too loose. Big Rev had a nice game though, when Deathless did take 34 minutes to close that one out, and then game three, 28 minutes. Not to toot Rivals own horn, but definitely was a good showing. From the outside looking in, I'm not playing with you guys. I would have been disappointing if it wasn't a 3-0. Game two made me a little bit, worried about the rest of the series going forward, but you guys kind of tighten it up game three and look good doing so. I liked that Vayne pick into the almost all melee comp. I thought it was gonna work, ended up working pretty well. It was a little bit rough in the early game from BK's. He was sprinting it a little bit. Kind of
Scaling.
expected to. Yeah, I thought he'd have trouble going into the Kled lane. It's just such a unique look that if you're not prepared or ready for it, could give you trouble, and it did. But thankfully, the rest of the team had a really good showing as well. So, um, all right. Which one of the spicy ones do you want to talk about next?
We'll go TFF versus RAR.
Okay.
Um, I mean,
I
some
mean,
people were whispering that I predicted the upset. Hey, people were whispering.
I don't
Um,
even think I don't even think you would thought it would be this
definitely,
one-sided though.
definitely not a 3-0. I mean, I
Yeah.
coming in was thinking TFF was the best team in the league, and maybe that's some bias because we got our ass whooped by them. And then they
Hmm.
also took down NLE, I believe. Yeah. So, yeah, definitely thought they were the best team. Just thought RAR was on a multi-week heater. So that's why I picked RAR in the upset. Did not expect a 3-0. I think even if you had RAR winning, I don't think you had a 3-0. Not a shot at RAR just because respect on TFF's name. Um, and yeah, I mean RAR came out swinging. I don't know.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean, it it was interesting. The game two draft from TFF was uh interesting to me. It's been a while since I've seen Kale kind of make the rotations. Actually, it's interesting because Kale got picked twice in these playoff series. I think another game that we'll talk about with the NLE TD series actually got picked up as well. Um, and then game three they kind of abandoned their formulas for success that we had talked about before. Scale to late game. You had Efron on Silas. You had Islamic Samurai on Aatrox. Chrome Malone was kind of the only scaling option with that Smolder pick. But yeah, it looks like when Roar took game one, TFF kind of got off kilter a little bit. And in a playoff series, being off kilter is probably one of the worst places you can be. When you're kind of in your own head, you stop playing your own game. You kind of play to the enemy's hands. Um, and yeah, I thought Roar put together an extremely well put together plan. The game two lane swap was fun to see, with Stink Pickle going top for the first little bit of the game. And they're definitely innovative. They're definitely bringing out some spicy picks. Their XI jungle played almost all three games. Was banned away that third game. Um, and they're definitely I'm excited to see how this semifinals goes. I know we're not talking about it quite yet, but I think Roar's gonna
Do some
do
things.
something
Yeah.
to wow us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to. We try not to hit too much like on specific like pick bands and whatnot because we don't want to sway teams one way or the other, especially when we have a game in like an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would just say some interesting draft choices for TFF,
Yeah.
both
Yeah,
picks
for
and
sure.
bans. So I don't know. I mean, I know the internets will say Kale is an OP champion right now. So for solo queue at least. And then there were some bans that were not
Yeah.
not
Interesting.
picked. So I don't know. Yeah, we gotta get too far into it. So yeah, didn't expect it. Um, I don't think TFF. Surely TFF didn't go into it thinking they were just gonna clean sweep easy peasy.
No.
Because RAR's been on such a heater. But yeah, after that first game, it's kind of like oh, we might get knocked out right here. Let's lock in, and then you go down 0-2, and it's just kind of that's a tough one. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, not super expected. Definitely not the 3-0, but good showing from TFF this split. Just happened to play the biggest momentum team in quarterfinals.
Yeah, and looks uh I don't want to say sloppy because that seems kind of harsh, but um not like the TFF we're used to seeing. Which, a large part to Roar for putting him in that position. After that game one, it just seemed like they were, I don't know if panic's the right word, but flustered maybe, where up until that point it seemed like it was all cylinders on the scaling. We're gonna give stuff up. We're not gonna take risky plays, and then we're just gonna win the game. 30 minutes in. When that didn't happen, got a little flustered. I think that's the best word. Uh, I mean, how do you want to open this one up? Enely, TD Blessed.
I mean,
Um,
you predicted it, kind of, maybe.
I did say I thought I predicted
It
it
was
kind
possible.
of. I thought it was TD if they picked up the game one, they would have ended up winning. Instead, they just lost game one and then did a gentleman sweep there, picking up the next three.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the facts are. NLE decided to handshake, not enforcing penalties
Yes.
versus TD.
Hmm.
Um, and obviously didn't work out for him. Um, I choosing my words carefully. No, I mean TDS Italy said it's chill, so that's I mean good on them as long as they feel good about that decision. It's tough looking after the fact, knowing that you lost, and what could have happened or should have happened or whatnot. I think TD still would have been able to play right. They just would have lost a bunch of bands, maybe even all of them. Had
Hmm.
NLE not handshook. So what could have happened had they not done that? But it is what it is. They handshook it. They played the series. Both teams had a chance to win, and TD took it. Was it? It was 1-1. Oh,
But yeah,
NLE
TD
took game
lost.
one. I didn't even know. I
Yeah,
guess I didn't
TD lost
recognize
the
that.
first game, and then it's that gentleman sweep where you give a game just to take the next three. Um, yeah, definitely not expected. Uh, from the information I know, not everybody was on board with the decision to handshake everything. Um, and I think after that game too, it the parties that were not on board might have been a little upset. And so yeah, when you're playing League and you're not happy, that's like the worst time to play League. When you're tilted, just you know put the mouse down, walk away. You know when you're in your ranked lobbies, you can't do that in a playoff series though. And it is a skill set to have. You know when things start going rough, how do you stay even keeled? And it just we were watching Complex's POV, and it just didn't seem like NLE was on the same page. A lot of fights happening when Ferdy wasn't there. Ferdy had himself a decent series. Um, there's just a lot of fights that were lost before he even showed up to him. You know, some individuals not living up to their ceilings, I guess, in the playoff series as well. And TD took full advantage of that and picked up games two, three, and four, and um, looked good doing so.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, in general, after game two, you have to think that it's kind of like brought back down to reality because NLE going into the game surely thinking they're the best team in the playoffs. We had them probably one or two
Hmm.
pretty confidently as the most consistent team this split. Um, but yeah, just given the whole nature of everything with the no penalties and whatnot, after losing one game, it's just kind of tough to get. Um, I mean, obviously weren't on NLE's comms. Who knows what was actually being said or what happened? Could have all been chill, um, but you have to expect in any scenario like that, especially if everybody wasn't on the same page. After you lose a game, it's could have probably predicted that games 3 and 4 were going to go that way after game two,
Hmm.
just because of the situation. But it is what it is. Uh, and TD took advantage of it with a 3-1 win.
Yeah. Yeah, that game three, I think, kind of is when it came to a head. Uh, NLE outside of Ferdy, just looking really rough. And uh, now we move on to semifinals. And Rivals has already taken the series.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I'll
you want to talk
so
a little bit about it or
yeah,
no?
I mean, so I mean, just a quick little something. So I mean, every team has their own way about how they would tackle that situation.
Yep.
So for those that don't know, the facts um, are based on the rules. TD had already used up their e-subs. You only get X amount of e-subs for playoffs. So in order for TD to play semifinals or finals, had they been there, would take a handshake from the other team. I, as the team captain and Oregoner, decided not to take the handshake. Um, I feel like you're either fully on one side or the other. You're either like,
Hmm.
wow, how could you do that? Aren't we all here to play? Or you're on the other side of, we're here to win and if we're gonna follow the rules, we're gonna hold everybody else to the same accountability. So I don't know. We don't have to go circles and circles on that one, but
I mean, I do want to kind of interject and say like it wasn't a CB came up with this decision to not handshake and take the win. Like uh, everybody involved in Rival Sentinel had a voice in the decision.
okay. I was gonna say
Um,
the opposite, but here we go.
oh, okay.
Never mind. No, I was going to say as team captain. I mean, regardless. Obviously, if everybody on my team was like, "Screw you, CB," um,
Yeah.
that's one thing. But if it was gonna be split, it was gonna be on me. So
Hmm.
either way, doesn't matter. Is what it is. Uh, Anybody that's been around me or rivals knows that I'm pretty big on the rulebook. I like to reschedule, so I'm all cool with like reschedules and whatnot. But I forced my players to play however many games all split, and they got mad at me every week that I made them play. So um, it's only kind
Well,
of
and just to touch on it too, it's not like we haven't gotten, I wouldn't say screwed over, but hadn't had the rule book not be in our favor, right? You know, look back to week one, with the DCs and everything like that. We could have pointed to the rule book and said it says here that, you know, the game could be rescheduled because of what is it, Mother Nature events. I don't know how it's worded
oh
in
yeah,
there. Um, we didn't, you know, we kind of took it on the chin, did the best we could and moved on. And um, I won't speak for rivals. I'll speak for myself here. When you sign up for a league, you got to figure out what you're signing up for, whether it's to be competitive and win or just to show up and have fun. And if you want to be competitive, you follow the rules. And if you can't follow the rules, and everybody else could, as frustrating as it may be, you put yourself in that position. And if you really wanted to win a championship, you wouldn't do that. That's just my opinion. So,
true, true. It is what it is. Anyway, back to the actual game that's happening tonight in an
yeah,
hour. RAR, BBP.
yeah. Uh, I talked a little bit about this on the LXC podcast. I think the the series is gonna come down to the top lane matchup. Um, I am a believer that Feathers is probably the best top laner in Sentinel, best equipped to kind of nullify what Pelum likes to do because Feathers is just so good at playing on an island and doing the right things, backing off waves he shouldn't be at or can't take. Um, the vision and everything like that. And so I don't think PLM is going to be able to run over Feathers like he has a lot of the top laners in the past. Um, on the flip side, you know, I think the Lord JK and their jungler, um, Merc might do the kind of the same thing for Roar's squad. A lot of Roar's success comes through jungle mid, in my opinion. Moisting and Stink Pickle, and if they're not able to get going, we could see a very long series with Pelum not doing it what he's used to or normally doing, with Stink Pickle and Moisty not being able to do what they do. Um, so it's going to be up to both of these teams, I think, in my opinion, to figure out a winning game plan outside of what they're comfortable with. Um, and I think it'll lead to a long series. I'm not entirely sure though. I'm gonna go 3-2 Roar. With the caveat that it's either gonna be a full 5 games or someone's gonna win 3-0. I just don't know who.
Okay, okay, okay. Hmm. I I want to put respect on BVP because obviously we haven't seen him lose. They've only played 1 or 2 weeks. 2 weeks. um, different rosters and e-subs and whatnot. You could say who have they beaten and blah blah blah, all that fun stuff. So it's still tough, still a lot of question marks around BBP. But they also haven't lost, so it's have to put some respect on them. On the other hand, I mean, RAR is on the biggest like what month and a half momentum that I've seen in like low elo comp for a hot minute. So I can't reasonably go against RAR. I think RAR wins it. I'm kind of in the same boat. It could be a 3-0, could go game 5. If I had to pick a winner, it has to be RAR. Just because they're looking so good. No hate to BBP, they're also looking good. Just RAR has a lot more to go off of. So my prediction would be a little RAR 3-1 action. Um, BBP we've seen all of one game, so I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna
mean,
be I say it is gonna be a very interesting top lane matchup. Um, I mean, two of the best top laners, right?
yeah, it's just two very different styles though. Like you think of like I like drawing pro comparisons and sports and things like that. And so you look at Pelham, you're like, oh, he's like Zeus over in HLE. Like he plays these carries, he does really well, he impacts the map, he's super aggressive. And then Feathers is like Impact, where it's just like, yeah, I'm top lane island, I'll be stable, I'll show up for team fights, I'll help the team win, but I'm not gonna, you know, lock in Mbessa and go crazy, right? Um, and so there's a little bit of that. Then there's that 2v2 in the mid jungle where Lord JK is, kind of more like Feathers in the mid lane, while Sting Pickles, more like Pelham, where he wants to be aggressive, he wants to make these plays, he wants to pick these unique picks. And so it's funny because these teams operate kind of the same, but from different ends of the spectrum, where it's like Roar is like mid jungle, unlock the map, go affect the side lanes, while Pelham and BBP is like, okay, top lane's gonna carry, he'll be a menace on the side lane, you know, mid and bot just be stabilized and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see. I'll be casting it actually, so I'm excited. I'm ready for a full 5 game series. So we will see. Did you put a game number on it? You said you're going with Roar, but
I think RAR 3-1, and that's
okay.
more of just confidence in RAR because they've been such high momentum. So I won't be completely like shocked if BBP can pull it out. It's just I can't pick them if I've only seen them really play with this roster like one game. So
All right,
be
we're gonna
interesting.
go to a quick break, and then we're back with player power rankings right after this. Welcome back, everybody. It is player rankings portion of the Rivals run back. Um, I
What
guess we'll
role?
just, yeah, I don't know what role. What
Pick one.
role?
You can pick one.
Chat, say something
First
quick.
one.
Otherwise, I'm picking bottom lane. Uh, Oh, there you go. Mirrors to the AC. So it is bottom lane. So we'll start off with ADC. That's fine. Right off the rip, OSG Cheese. Cheese in the series against Rivals. This wasn't his day, man. It got going a little bit with the Kled, but when it came to the traditional ADCs, it was a rough go of it.
Yeah, a couple rough games. Kled was decent. Um, I wonder if the Tristani was a takeaway force pick game one.
That's what it seemed like.
Um, but yeah, I don't think Cheese played bad by any means. I just think we played really well, which may be a cop out answer, but is what it is.
Yeah, obviously you're in the playoffs, so you did something good the rest of the season. I don't know how you approach these. I kind of did my power rankings based off of uh, just the playoffs.
I did
Um,
also. I did also. Otherwise, Cheese would have
okay,
been higher. So yeah, I did mainly
yeah,
just the playoffs.
okay. Which is why you see a player like Chrome Alone at 7. Uh, Chrome Alone's series wasn't bad. It's just that it was the worst of, or not worst, but one of the worst of the teams that lost, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it
And
just
so I
wasn't a
think that's
super
how he
close
ended up at
series.
7. Yeah.
Smaller pick. I had just question marks around it, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, just a tough showing for their team and not the best game for Chrome alone.
To be fair, Roar kind of got a favorable matchup in every single ball lane, it seems like. So Chrome Alone had to play Jinx and his Ziggs, which is hard losing, and obviously didn't do very well. Then you get the the Lux, the Caitlyn, and you have to play it into a Mel. I don't think Mel's the best pick right now, but it's definitely good into Kate because Kate can't really interact. So it was just not not the drafts that were beneficial for Chrome Alone, and then good play by Roar. So Chrome Alone at 7-6. Big Z, a new name to the list. First time we got to see this player play. Uh, did relatively well. Uh, Tortuga had himself a nice series though, which might be why he's not um over Tortuga, specifically in that loss in game 2. Um, it was kind of neck and neck for me between those two players, where to put them.
Yeah, same.
I put
Same.
Big Z at 6 just because we haven't seen a lot of him. What we did see was really good. I also don't think he was the reason why they were winning games, but he also wasn't why they were losing games. So I thought six or 5 would have been a good spot. Ended up at 6.
Yeah, I went back and forth. 5 and 6. I didn't want to just put them ahead of the other player because they won the game.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was close, but they have a chance to still move up the list after tonight.
Yeah. Number 5. If it wasn't clear, I'm pretty sure it is Tortuga, and it is. Like I said, Tortuga had himself a series, which is impressive because wasn't getting a lot of team help. When you're the AD carry and your team's not performing well, it's pretty easy to make AD carries have bad days in League of Legends. Didn't end up happening for him. I think he played Jinx every single game as well.
Yeah, all 4 games. Comfort,
Um, a comfort or forced upon maybe.
maybe.
Either way, making the Jinx work in a variety of situations, variety of different drafts. I think some drafts better than others. But Tortuga had a pretty nice day despite the loss.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't say Tortuga is the reason they lost. Um, but yeah,
One hand at number 4, one hand a big part of TD taking down NLE. Had himself really nice games. I mean, TD struggled in general in game 1. Didn't look the best on Mel. But then after that, looked really good. The Ash game going 2-6. wasn't the greatest. I remember watching that game though, and one hand got a really nice arrow
That's all you
on
need.
Soul
That's all it
Ram
takes.
to pick that game up. So even if the stats weren't there, was still finding ways to impact the game. And then games 3 and 4 on the Varus looked very, very comfortable.
Yeah, Varus was played all 4 games, just split between the 80 carries.
Yeah.
You can go 2-6 if you have 16 assists.
Yeah. And you make your arrows count. Number 3, Furdy. One hand one. Why isn't he higher? I think Furdy had a more consistent series, even though they ended up losing in a 3-1 fashion. Absolutely went off in game 1. Game 2 looked okay. Game 3 had a really nice game, but ended up, uh, losing. I think part of that is just the pick. MF is kind of hard to 1v9, so to speak. Not saying he was, but didn't get a lot of help in that game 3. And then game 4, the Corki. I don't consider that really a Furdy champ. Probably his worst showing, but still looked decent enough on it. Had a really consistent series overall. Just wasn't the team's day.
Yeah, I mean, similar to a couple other people on the list, don't want to rank them just because they won or lost. Obviously, we're going off of one series here, so just 4 games. But these two could argue could go either way, 3-4.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Furdy had a really good series despite the 1-3 loss.
Into the top 2, number 2, it's
Some bias before.
BK's. No, BK. So I was torn. I had BK's 1. I sided with you this time, and I put BK's 2 to give him some fire for finals. No, I just BK's did a lot in game 2. He was making some hero plays because game 2 definitely wasn't the cleanest from rivals. But then that game 3 was just so rough. It was so rough. I'm
Win's a
sure
win.
he'll. I know a win's a win. I'm sure that he would be the first to tell you that game 3 wasn't his game. But games 1 and 2 looked really good.
Yeah, I think the top 3 are all very close.
Yeah, for
So you
sure.
could go either way. I mean, obviously, I put a little bit of weight on uh, strength of opponent, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's me still being too hype on the TFF, despite the 0-3. But no, BK's played really well. We got a little loose game 2, but a lot of it's on me. So, but no, he looked really good. We'll see if we can carry it into finals. And yeah, if we give him 1, then what is he really gonna work for?
Yeah, true. That means number 1, Macho for Raw are gonna take the top spot. Now it's interesting. Macho, when you look at the games he played, or I guess she, Macho, tell me your what you like to go by. But
Anyway,
either way, uh, the the stats don't jump off the page, right? But it was the consistency. I think he died what once, three
three times
times,
total. Yeah.
3 times across all 3 games. So averaging 1 death per game, really, really good. Um, the damage numbers were there, was never the highest, but also never the lowest. And just really consistent for a mid jungle that likes to be a little bit more dynamic and chaotic. Having that consistency is key for that team. And Macho played that role really, really well.
Yeah, a little bit of a. I mean, I don't know necessarily if they play supportive style, but at least champ wise, it just seems Macho's just chilling. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously with one of the better top end mid lanes in the league, you can do that. So good showing. Yeah, only 3 deaths in 3 games. So number
Yeah.
1 spot
And
deserved.
2 mage games and then a
Yeah.
Sivir game too. So definitely a diverse champion pool. Will serve them well coming up tonight. All right. I guess with bottom lane, we should talk about supports, huh?
If we want to do the most important role we can, that's fine.
Okay, let's do it. Support right off the rip. Dorsky, just like with OSG, is just a tough series for them. while Cheese still got to have some fun with the Kled. Dorsky didn't have the worst of series, just also didn't have the best. I'd say he looked the best in game two. On the Maokai, had some good plays, only went 3 deaths, had a lot of assists. It's just outside of that, the Tarek looked a little rough, and then the Leona, while she was putting in work early on, couldn't continue to close out the game.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Tark Blind. Um, I
Hmm.
think you could see why on the game one was a little tougher than him.
Yeah.
Game two, he did Dorsky punished me a couple times for getting a little too loose, so
Yep.
respect there. And then I felt pretty good game three.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, definitely a solid support. By no means the worst support I've played this split. I feels like I'm taking a shot at somebody. I'm not. Um, just in that series, and for
Yeah.
playoffs overall, gonna take the 8th spot.
Number 7, a player that I don't think was originally intended to play this position, ended up slotting in there for a team, kind of trying to get it together on the fly. Trash Panda for Plasma Wolves. Panda didn't have the worst of games. I've had the pleasure of talking to him a couple of times. He's involved over in Conduit, and he's really really smart player. He does a lot of really good things. Um, just wasn't Plasma with series, and I don't think support is probably his most comfortable role. I thought the Thresh looked okay.
Yeah,
Um,
those look good.
but then outside of that, it's not like, I mean, he's getting high KP. He was doing the vision thing. It just wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean a couple decent games. I mean, game two looked a little rough. Game three, I feel like Nico support's always hit or miss. I mean, obviously he did decent damage, almost out damaged Tortuga,
Hmm.
80 carry. Um, but yeah, just kind of a rough series. And there was, I think this kind of second, maybe 5, 6, 7 are all fairly close. At least 6,
Yeah.
7. So decent showing. Just the 1-3 loss is gonna land at 7.
Number 6. We'll get there eventually. It is Triumphant. So a guy that was pretty much top three, if not number one or two, most weeks. Um, Going all the way back to when we were talking about the games, NLE just wasn't on the same page, and I think the person that hurt the most, outside of potentially jungle, was the support role. Triumphant, like, got it going in lane, but then once laning phase ended, I mean, he had 3 straight games of Braum, which we had seen him do work on. I just don't think you need to pick it all the time, especially with that MF comp. Would have liked to see that rail that he likes playing. It's just, you know, trying to make it work with a pick that isn't really a playmaker. I just don't know
Yeah,
if that's it.
Brahms. I mean, I like Braum as a champ, obviously, but it's definitely not really the most playmaker. Seems like Triumph has been playing a little bit more proactive supports all split. Obviously, these rankings are just based off the playoff series.
Yeah.
And Triumph was like what, top 2 or 3 basically all year. So yeah, just a rough series. Obviously, with how the game and everything went down, you could say part of it is on that. With all the other the drama stuff, but yeah, the last 2 games looked a little tough for a Braum. Just seems like kind of a safe, chill pick instead of a let's go kill these guys type thing.
Yeah, I mean, I misspoke. I said 3 straight games. It was 3 of the 4 games
Yeah, you're
for
good.
Braum. The second game on that Tom Kench probably had a little bit more fun on that champion, to be honest, even though they
Yeah,
lost.
Tom's fun. That's not the best support,
Uh,
but
Number 5, Poodle, another name that we're used to seeing, top one, top two, top three. Um, like the majority of the TFF roster, just really couldn't get going. It's not like she had horrible series by any means. Um, picked the Braum in game two and looked pretty decent in that. It's just, it just it's hard to carry from the support position. Um, and
Depending on who you play. Yeah, agree,
depending on who you
agree.
play or how you play. Yeah. Um, when you're playing Lulu and Seraphine, it's not going to be up to you to make those playmaking plays. And even Braum, maybe a little bit more playmaking, but not nearly enough for what TFF probably needed. And had a decent enough series, but I think five is a solid spot.
Yeah, I think Poodle and Triumph kind of in similar boats all season. A top support. Still think they are very good supports. Just some rough series. You could blame. I'm gonna blame a little bit on just having a smolder on your team. I think it's bad champion still. Um,
Mhm.
but I mean, didn't play bad by any means.
Yeah. Number 4. Barbaric champion. Barbaric one hand, kind of in tandem, had a pretty nice series. Um, Barbaric found out a lot of really good engages in game 3 on the Alistar. I know Alistar's, depending on who you ask, is either god tier or trash tier. And so seeing that work was nice. Even in the loss, I feel like TDB kind of had a for fun draft in game 1. To be 100% honest,
Yeah, that game one
the
draft's crazy.
yeah, the game 1 draft was going to be hard to win, even if they're firing on cylinders. Blitzcrank ended up not working out, but then on some more stable or more um, meta picks, so to speak, looked really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Blitzcrank. Just maybe not with too much cooking for the game one. Um, but outside of that, it looked pretty good. I like to see an Alistar, and did really well that game on Alistar. So gonna earn the top 4 spots for this week. I don't know. Carry on. It's number 3.
Yeah, going to number 3. Uh, I'm part of me is getting distracted. I might have to turn the chat off because seeing everybody go at it is making me laugh. Adrian Legitness at 3. Adrian themselves said they were trolling in a couple of plays. I think game 2 is when they were talking about it. Um, didn't have numbers that jumped off the page in game 1 or game 2. Game 3, the Swain looked really good. It seems like it's a favorite of theirs. Um, I would say their biggest impact came with the Vision game, allowing Roar to make a lot of aggressive plays in the opponent's jungle, because it wasn't being matched or swept or anything like that. And a lot of what goes into a good play is the prep beforehand, and Adrian had a big part of that.
Yeah, some damage dealing champions. Like to see it. We both played Swain twice. Coincidence. And a Tom, surprisingly, another Tom into Braum game, but this one worked out. So, yeah, Adrian looked good this week, has looked good in previous weeks, so makes sense that they are in the top 3.
Top 2,
Damn, that's some bias right there.
some bias.
I think it's the highest I've ever
CB not
been.
number
Look at
1.
me.
Yeah, look at you
Look at
now.
me. Off the tickler.
CB at number 2. Like you said, the Nautilus game was a little bit rough early on. Kind of turned it around partway through. But we're talking about Swain and support, Adrian Legitness, CB the Barbarian. If it's a Rivals v Rivals, Rivals v Roar matchup, Swain's gonna be pick ban. It seems like, because me and Husky were talking about it. It seemed like every E throughout netted not only a 1 but 2 people. You run around doing damage, making the map yours.
Yeah, I felt good. Obviously, I got carried by BKs in the whole series, so a little bit of a inflated stats. But I finally got to climb up here since we kind of did a little reset action just for playoffs, so it works out in my favor. But no, Swain feels really good. Had kind of a rough early game 2, but other than that, I felt pretty decent.
Yeah, game 1. Player number 1 for the support power rankings. Last but not least, Lunar Paw. Took a little bit for this player to get going. They didn't have the best game 1 or 2. Also didn't have the worst. But then game 3 and 4 really turned it on, making the Cog Lulu work. And then game 4, the match point, so to speak, really turned it on with the Rakan was everywhere on the map. Um, One of the highest KPs is it's tough to beat Pila when he's getting solo kills and
Yeah,
outplaying 2v1. But
true.
Lunar Paw definitely looked good in that one.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously it's close. Definitely, I think 1, 2, 3 are all really close. Um, BBP, not a lot of tape we have on them, but we have seen Lunar Paul throughout the split, and
Hmm.
was always up there in the top half for sure. Back-to-back Renata games, one of them, yeah, only one of them worked out, but and then broke out the Rakan, so a little bit different of a play style of champions. And we'll see how the 1 versus 3 support matchup goes tonight.
Yeah. Adrian staring down the opportunity to go at number 1, potentially heading into finals. We got time
Yeah,
for one more position.
yeah. Which one?
All
What's
right,
gonna be?
chat. Top, jungle, or mid lane. First one wins. I'm not doing a poll. Mid. All right, mid it is. Mundo Man, number 8. It seems like we're picking on OSG. I promise we're not. It's just the mid bot side did not have the best showing, and that's just being honest.
Yeah, I know it's tough. The fact that we played them. I mean, we were high on them at the last few weeks of regular season. It's just
Yeah.
not the best showing against us in the first round, second round, however you want to say it, um,
Yeah.
of playoffs. But the Rise, I haven't seen Rise in a while. Forgot that was a champion. Um, Game 2, yeah, the Swain was, I feel like, was decent.
Swain's
Um,
definitely comfort. It was interesting. Games 1 and 3, I think, with the bans we threw, um, definitely got him out of comfort, and it kind of showed. Game 2, definitely the most comfortable on that Swain. Um, but by bans, I mean bans and picks. By picking away the Swain in games 1 and 3, and then banning some other mid laners. Um, Took the Mbessa in game 3, didn't work out, and then Rise is just like one of those characters, those champions that if you can pilot really well, it seems unbeatable. It just didn't seem like Mundo Man was very comfortable on it.
True, true. Top 8 though, so here we are.
Top 8. Yep, wasn't last. Number 7, Wall Street. I had my concerns about Champool coming into the matchup. I don't know if the concerns were valid, but Wall Street had a pretty rough showing um, outside of that game 2 victory on that Aurelion Soul.
I mean, they did do a good amount of damage in that game 3. Yeah, game 3. So the stat line not the best. Obviously Tortuga looked decent as far as stats go, but I mean Wall Street was putting out some damage. Just
Yeah,
maybe tough into the ASOL once ASOL gets an item or two. Um, and then I mean still game 4 wasn't the worst showing by any means. Just kind of a overall okay series.
wasn't memorable in that he stood out kind of like Tortuga did, and it was just I mean it was rough. The Aurelion Soul though, Aurelion Soul looked really good. Efron at 6. I think we had the most variation between our two rankings in mid lane. I think
Okay.
we were a little bit lower on Efron. I don't know where. I think you might had him at 5 or something. It
I
wasn't
had
too far
Efron at
off.
5. Yeah.
Okay. Ended up at 6. A big reason why Roar won is because Stink Pickle just got to do what he wanted, and when one mid laner gets to do what he wants, it means the other mid laner, you know, doesn't necessarily mean that they're having a bad series or a bad game. It's just like something wasn't connecting. I don't know if it was a communication issue or what, but like in game 1 and 2, everyone put up decent enough score lines, did damage. Game 3, putting him on the Silas was questionable in my opinion. Just not a champ that we're used to seeing everyone play. But I guess when you're back against the wall, you got to try something. It wasn't his series.
Yeah, not the worst showing of the week for mid lane, but
No.
yeah, I mean they use a decent amount of bans against Stink Pickle in that game three,
Hmm.
and Pickle still kind of took over. So that's why Efron fell into the second half for me.
Yeah. Number 5. Riven. So I was going through it, and I really wanted to put Riven above Solram. I just I don't know. We were watching the games, and I said some things. I'm not gonna be as blunt, but Riven just seems like a player. I'll give him this. Game 2, the Kale went crazy, but then outside of that, it's just he's just kind of there in my opinion. He doesn't lose his team games except for when he does, and then when they win, he's kind of just like a contributor, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I remember there being some plays where it was like I think it was going back and forth. I don't know if it was game 3 or 4. It was like, wait, Riven
Game
just
4,
threw. Wait, Riven just made a sick play.
yeah, it
Wait,
was
Riven
the
threw.
Ari
Yeah,
game. The
yeah.
Ari
So
game, it
roller
was
coaster.
like, what are we doing? You know, but it ended up working out. They ended up getting the series win. It's just, Riven has high highs and low lows, but kind of just lukewarm for most of the time. Number 4 is in the top five
Speaking of,
though, so there it is. Solar Ram probably had the worst series I've seen her play in LXC in Sentinel. Still ending up at number 4. Speaks to something about this player. Uh, it's a shame that's how NLE goes out. Soram has a rough one, but it happens, and hopefully they bounce back. It's just it was tough.
yeah, I think the only thing I didn't like was the Hue pick.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, obviously it's easy to say that with the stats. I mean, did a good amount of damage. Had some good CS, but um,
yeah,
I guess maybe that's just a cop out of whenever you have a bad stat line and your team loses. It's like, oh, it was the Hue pick. So maybe it wasn't that, but
yeah.
it's just not my favorite champ to see right now.
And it for me it kind of came down to play. Originally, I was gonna have her maybe 6 or 5. Um, it was just like I distinctly remember in game 2, Soram on the Syndra, just playing way out in front of her team, gets the Ash arrow to the noggin. They end up taking a bad fight because of it, and then they just lose the game, right? And it was just like small mistakes like that where, like other than those, had a decent enough series. It was just it was just unfortunate that those mistakes ended up being so costly. So number 3, the Lord JK, uh, really stable mid laner, kind of in the realm of stats won't wow you or pop off the page, but does the job, and does it really nicely. That nice complimentary piece to Pila Mirialis.
Yeah, I mean, just likes to play kind of the chill game and then pop off the second half of the game. Um, have played some with Lord JK, so knew they would end up in the top half for sure. Uh, Good series with a 3-1 win. We'll see how
Hmm.
they stack up. Obviously, we haven't seen Rar's mid laner yet, so in the 1-2 spot, so it'll be a good mid lane matchup, especially with the differing play styles.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And even in that loss, just not a favorable lane matchup. Taking the Anivia into the Aurelion Soul, it's just gonna be hard. I get it. It's supposed to be a counter. Aurelion can't Q if you have Q. Um, but if he has help from his friends, it doesn't matter. Salo at 2. I was back and forth between 1 and 2.
Same,
I
same.
think I think two's a good spot. I had a little bit of my own frustrations with some things he was doing in the OSG series. And part of that is Stink was just probably a bigger reason why Roar won um their series, and Stink did something that Sailor couldn't do in the regular season, get the better of Efron.
That's fair. Yeah, I went back and forth also. I think Salo deserved a one spot. It was just that Stink Pickle really deserved one spot. So it wasn't like Salo did anything bad or by any means. He played really well. You could say game three, wasn't anything crazy flashy. Whereas Stink Pickle, especially in an upset win, playing so well was why they deserved the number one spot. So
I mean,
it
you
was
say
almost
not
a one
crazy
A, one B.
flashy.
I mean,
I mean, going 10-2 and 9
comparatively,
on
it's
Echo.
comparatively.
Yeah, comparatively to game one and two, yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
But even in game three, definitely left his mark. I know some players in TFF were very surprised. I think it was Efron after the game that said, that Stink Pickle guy is really good. So
True, and we'll see how the 1 versus 3 matchup goes in like 15, 20 minutes. But we will be right back and wrap up Jungle Top Team's speed run.
yeah, speed runs. We can get the series. All right, Jungle Power Rankings up next. We got a little under 12 minutes to get this done because Roar and everybody else has a series to watch. Feeny, number 8. Uh, Feeny kind of off roll, I think. And no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I
it
think
you
so.
know it was it was a rough series for Plasma Wolves. Feeny not excluded from that, and didn't have the best impact on the game, is what I'll say.
True, but stepped in. I mean, late as
Stepped
well,
in.
so
Yep.
it's going. It's going.
Number 7. Coach Silent K. TFF's top side definitely struggling against Roar. Coach Silent K, not immune to that as well. When you're averaging probably close to 7 deaths in a series, probably like a little over 6. And the kills aren't there. It's just not conducive for you to win when that's happening.
Yeah, just tough series all around. I think for Silent K this week. Good split overall. Just kind of a tough week for sure.
Number 6. Yeah,
Number,
keep these guys running.
number 6, my lord. Yeah, close.
Number 6, questioning error. Uh, Not the best series from her. Um, got caught a little bit invading, probably when they shouldn't be invading. And the OSG run comes to a conclusion. Koi at 5. Koi had a really nice series game 1, like the rest of his team, and then after that, it seemed like the rails came off the tracks on the Skarner. Looked really tough. They talked about how Koi shouldn't play tanks. I see why. I'm just kidding. That was a little harsh, but it just not really in his
This Skarner's like
wheelhouse.
not the best jungler
Yeah,
right
yeah, and
now,
it's not
but
the best jungler right now.
quite
Yeah,
a decent game for
yeah,
Lilia.
yeah. On the Lilia, for sure. Number 4. Speaking of game 4, number 4, 444.
My lord. Four.
Gonna be Paradigm Shift. We put Paradigm here because he played the majority of the series, and looked really, really good. I've known this player in the past. I don't think we ever played together, but we communicated a lot. Definitely a really good player. I just don't know if he plays enough to ever be rostered. So if you're looking out for a good player, hit a Paradigm. He'll make stuff work.
Or Esub for a couple wins, playoffs, easy peasy.
Yeah, for a couple of his playoffs. True. Top 3 we go. I will say for Paradigm though, definitely left big shoes for Mergmaster to potentially fill. Physiology on the alt account for TD, uh, has gotten better as his time in jungle has gone on. Came into the role basically a support man and has looked good.
Yeah, stepped in for the whole jungle situation they had going on, and really looked good in that series against Italy.
Number 2, the Moisting. Champ pool questions aside, for all you naysayers in the chat, Moisting looked really, really good. The jung mid duo tandem for Roar is definitely one to watch out for, even off the rec side, making the Gwen look really good.
Self-proclaimed not Rek'Sai one trick.
Yeah. Only his 5th best champion. Number 1, Big Rev. Big Rev going deathless in game 2. Having really nice impacts in all the games. Plays a variety of roles for us. Kind of a Maokai merchant in games 1 and 3. Made it work.
Yeah, definitely some pop off. Some say he was playing for KDA to get that perfect game. I don't know. That's what people were whispering.
Yeah.
But no, definitely a good series from him, and straight into top lane.
Straight into top lane we go. Nike Dragon, off roll. Wasn't sure if he was gonna stick around. Ends up doing so. Top lane is not his wheelhouse, and he will be the first to tell you that.
He should have broke out some 80 carry champs. Jinx top. I mean, why not?
Why not, Vayne? Quinn. Anyways, number 7.
Gonna be Islamic Samurai for TFF.
Yeah, TFF top side really really struggled. And when you're playing top, that's part of the top side. Islamic Samurai struggled as well.
True. Broke out the kill. We seen a bunch of kill this week.
Bunch of kill.
Bunch of kill.
Number 6. Diet Coke. Diet Coke, kind of like with Soul Ram, probably the worst series.
Yeah, this one was one of the most surprising of
Yeah.
all lanes, all rankings.
Yeah, definitely not his series. One of those ones you wish you could have back. It's unfortunate that it happens in playoffs.
Yeah, I mean a really good game one, um, and then it was just
Yeah.
kind of tough after that. Enough to not be the bottom two, and obviously Diet Coke was at the top of the list most of the split. Just a rough series.
Yep. Number 5. Entropy. Coming in, last time we saw him play was actually an 80 carry. So coming in, potentially off roll as a sub. Kind of got going as the series went on. Game 3 looked really good on the Gwen. Gwen a little overtuned right now, but regardless,
For another day or two, 1 or 2 days.
yeah. Regardless, looked really good. Like I said, that kind of had to ramp up though. Really tough game 1, decent enough game 2, and then really really good game 3. Puts him at number 5. Number 4, Complex. Complex, a big part of the comms, it seems like, in terms of like communicating when he's going to be there, when he's not, what plays they should look for and stuff like that. There's a little bit of a split decision. I don't remember if it was game 2 or 3, when they're like, "Hey, we just need to go Baron," and everyone was like, "Hey, we're just gonna end the game," and it got a little dicey.
Oh yeah. They went to Baron and they still ended the game with like 3 people.
Yeah. It was a little funny to watch. So comms not quite where they need to be, but Complex had a nice series.
Yeah, back-to-back Garen games, right? Yeah, kind of pop off.
Yeah.
I know this
Death
guy.
Knight at number 3. Um, I think Death Knight kind of along the lines. I wouldn't say it got worse as the season went or as the series went on. Um, Game 2 had the right idea but wrong approach about a specific champion and build that we kind of talked about, and then Game 3 it just wasn't. It wasn't his game to be the carry. Picking the Shen, did fine. Had really nice ultimates. It just unfortunately Venture B was able to get going with that pick.
Yeah, I mean the stats are never gonna show the top tier Shin ultimates, so and Venture P obviously had a good game 3, so enough to be in the top 3, and he's just getting relaxed, he's just chilling.
Yeah. He knew the series was in the bag, so he wasn't trying his hardest. I was kidding. Number 2. I don't actually remember who ended up putting here. Oh, it is Feathers. Okay. Went with Feathers here. We were split between 1 and 2.
Okay, I mean that's fair as long as we both had the same
Yep.
1 and 2.
Yep. So Feathers ended up at number 2. But dude, Feathers is like Mr. Reliable, man. He has crazy high CS numbers, crazy good vision. Usually keeps his deaths low, except for the occasional bad game here and there. But number 1, Pila Murialis. If you're looking for a dynamic top laner who likes to carry, that's your guy.
Yeah, and we'll see how those 2 kind of different playstyles clash here in like 5 to 10 minutes. But yeah,
More
one
like 3,
and
but
2.
let's go.
I mean that's when it kind of starts draft and you get into lobby and all that fun
Yeah.
stuff. So, all right.
Alright. Team rankings.
Team rankings. Yeah, this looks pretty. I think this looks right to me.
Oh,
Oh
it's
wait.
April Fool's joke. It's kind of funny. I just threw it in there. Real team rankings. OSG Sub-Zero was the number 2 seed heading in. Was the number 2 seed of Sector 2 though, and so it was going to be an uphill battle in our opinion, and it was. Went down 0-3 at number 8 for OSG. I could have maybe had them at 7th, but regardless, decent spot.
Yeah, I assume the 4 that lost are bottom 4. I don't know. I didn't really check. We're gonna find out. But
Yep.
yeah.
Number 7,
Sub-Zero,
Plasma Wolves.
Plasma Wolves. Who?
they put together a respectable showing with all the circumstances that they had. So number six, NLE. Number six and number five, I was torn. Uh, I think this was the worst we saw NLE play though, so I think six was the deserving spot. Just wasn't their night.
Yeah, the bottom two, I'm not gonna say it's what we kind of expected for like
Hmm.
seventh and eighth, and then six is obviously where we get like, oh, didn't
Yeah,
think this was
we were
gonna
wrong
happen.
about the pre playoffs rankings. Number five,
It's hurrying, it's
getting
hurrying,
pinged.
it's
We gotta
hurrying,
make
it's
this.
hurrying, it's
Gotta
hurrying.
make this go.
Some people put
Put it on two
30
times.
seconds in between.
Number five, TFF Chill guys taking their time to get here. Like NLE, probably one of the worst showings we saw from TFF. Unfortunate game in playoffs. Roar looked really good. So it's a combination of having a bad night and going against a good opponent. BBP, I'm still not sold on. I thought about putting them below TFF and LNLE. They just got lucky because they didn't have to play them. But I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. I can see it either way.
We'll see.
TDB
We'll have to see.
TDB at three, questionable potentially. If you're gonna have BBP at four, but TD at three, I don't know. Uh, I'm in agreement though. That's why they're here. I thought TDB of the series that we saw them play, that's probably the best we've seen them play. Between three and four for me. Rivals at two, some things to clean up. Which means Roar at number one. Triple Star Lounge devastated in the chat right now. That Roar ends up being number one.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see if it's some bias. We'll see if we were just completely wrong. It's just BBP. We haven't been able to see enough, and so it's like what, 2 weeks, and maybe one game with their starting roster. So
Yeah,
um,
we'll see. I mean, what better time to see than now? It is now game time. Head on over to the LXC. We'll be doing a raid. I got
somehow
a
I
dip,
can. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
and I will catch you guys when I catch you.
I'll eventually
Where
figure out
are
how
we?
to raid. Who knows? Somewhere in there.